There have been so many great players throughout NBA history that not many of them had the chance to be recognized as the MVP of the league. So, we're taking this opportunity to recognize their greatness. Now, this list isn't in any particular order, we're just going to give some credit to the greatest players to never win MVP. Elvin Hayes. Elvin Hayes was one of the best rebounders in NBA history, but he also had a fairly large arsenal of offensive moves. He played in 3 different decades throughout his 16-year-long career. The 1974 season was his best year when he averaged 21.4 points, 18.1 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. But that wasn't even the year he was the closest to winning MVP. Both in 1975 and 1979, he finished in 3rd place in the voting. Elvin Hayes went on to become a Hall of Famer and a champion, but never an MVP. Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce just retired as a member of the Boston Celtics, thanks to a small contract he signed with the team in July. For the 15 seasons he spent in Boston, he became one of the best players of that historically great organization. He's one of the greatest three-point shooters ever, finishing in 4th place in three-pointers made. In 2002, he put up 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, carrying the Celtics to almost 50 wins. Despite all of that, he finished in 11th place in the MVP voting, proving that he was an underrated player his whole career. Now that his career is over, at least you can say he proved everyone wrong, becoming the best player of a championship team. Isiah Thomas. We're all familiar with Isiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons. That team gave nightmares to every other team in the league, especially in the Eastern Conference. Isiah Thomas, who was the leader of the iconic squad, is recognized by everyone as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. A lot of people put him as a top 5 point guard of all time. Despite that, he was never really that close to winning an MVP award. The closest he ever got was 5th place in 1984 when he averaged 21 points and 11 assists. Oddly enough, the following season in 1985, he averaged 21 points, 2 steals, and almost 14 assists, but he finished 9th in MVP voting. Elgin Baylor. Baylor played in an era dominated by Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain in terms of awards. He was a great all-around player. In 1961, he averaged 34.8 points, 19.8 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game. Many stats weren't recorded at the time, but now we know that he led the league in PER that season and had the most offensive win shares of any season in his career. He also scored the most points in the playoffs 4 times. Baylor was an incredible player. He was a runner-up for the MVP every year of his career, but he never won. DWade. Wade is one of the best players this generation has seen. With 3 championships, a finals MVP, a scoring title, and 12 All-Star appearances, his place in history is already secured. But with those types of accolades, the lack of a regular season MVP award really stands out. Many people argue he should have won in 2009. His numbers were amazing, nearly identical to LeBron James, who actually won the MVP that season. He averaged 30.2 points, 7.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2.2 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game throughout 79 games played. He had his highest three-point percentage and his highest total win shares that season, but still, there were 4 other players who the voters thought were more deserving of the award. John Stockton. John Stockton is one of, if not the best distributors this game has seen. He had 10 seasons averaging a double-double and is the all-time assist leader by a margin of 3,715 assists and the all-time steals leader by 581 steals. Even though everybody knows who John Stockton is, he isn't mentioned nearly enough in the all-time greats conversation. He had back-to-back seasons where he averaged at least 14 points, 13 assists, and 3 steals per game, shooting above 53% from the field. Those are slightly better numbers to those of Steve Nash's MVP seasons. He didn't reach the top 5 in MVP voting in any season of his career, which is just crazy. I mean, I never knew that. That's just wrong. It's John Stockton. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. George Gervin. George Gervin is a runner-up for the greatest Spur of all time. The Iceman was a 4-time scoring champion and a 7-time All-NBA player. He finished second in the MVP voting twice. His career averages are just as good as Kobe Bryant's: 25.1 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists, shooting just above 50% from the field. In his prime, he was easily one of the best scorers ever. He's not one of the most iconic players ever for nothing. Jerry West. It's easy to see Jerry West as an unlucky player. It took him 9 trips to the finals to win his first and only ring. He even won Finals MVP in his 8th Finals appearance, even though he lost the series. But his success is undeniable. He was an All-Star every year of his career and an All-NBA player for every season except for his first season and final season. He evolved as a player throughout his career. In his first 6 seasons in the NBA, he averaged more rebounds than assists, but as he got older, it was like he completely flipped the switch and went on to lead the league in assists. In the 1969 season, when he won the scoring title, he didn't even finish in the top 5 in the MVP award shares. It's odd to know that the face of the NBA never reached the ultimate individual achievement. So that's our list. We know there are dozens of other players that could be on here. Leave a comment with some other players who should have won MVP. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more NBA videos like this one, and follow us on social media so you can tell us what video you want to see next.